Have you ever wondered if everything you know is real? It's a question that throughout history has troubled humanity, sparking curiosity about the unknown and the mysterious. Today, I want to take you on a journey into a fascinating mystery that has captivated entire generations: the Enchantments, mysterious portals said to manifest on special dates such as June 24th, New Year's, and Easter. Stories about the enchantments have been passed down through centuries, whispered from mouth to mouth in different cultures and regions. Testimonies from those who have witnessed these mysterious phenomena abound. It is said that on these specified dates, a subtle and ethereal veil opens somewhere in the world, allowing the brave or fortunate ones who dare to cross it to enter a parallel reality full of mysteries and wonders. In that context, let me tell you a story. A while back, in a place near the warm lands of Guerrero, Mexico, I heard the story of a man whom his family had believed to be lost for several years, and whom I'll call Paul. One morning, he left his house early to take his cows to graze in the mountains. He saddled his horse and set off. He followed the route he took every day, completed his tasks, and once his animals had eaten, he took the way back home. On the path he had traveled earlier, he noticed something strange. He found a tent set up in the middle of nowhere. Something impossible, as no one lived around there, and that tent wasn't there when he passed by hours before. Curious to investigate, he dismounted his horse and entered the tent. Once inside, he realized there were people he had never seen before, dressed in a manner completely strange to him. He tried to describe what he saw with the words he knew, despite having never seen anything like it. Some wore sumptuous and colorful suits with bright fabrics and patterns, while others were covered from head to toe in loose and flowing garments, resembling long, billowy tunics. His eyes widened, and his face displayed a mix of disbelief and curiosity. He stood perplexed and speechless for a moment as his mind tried to grasp what he was witnessing. However, as he looked around and ahead, he realized it was a store. They sold everything from shoes, ropes, jewelry, clothing, saddles, food, and more. Surprised by the abundance of items and being a man with little money, he only picked up a small blanket, thinking of the baby his wife was carrying, and a pair of earrings for his little daughter. When he tried to pay, the storekeeper, with an enigmatic expression and a deep gaze that seemed to transcend time, looked at what he held in his hand and whispered two things in a mysterious and somber tone. "I hope you took those things without greed, and, moreover, there's no need for you to pay me with money. You've already paid with the time you spent here." Paul found the storekeeper's words peculiar. They echoed in the air with a touch of melancholy and a nuance that seemed to hide ancient secrets, as if each syllable carried a meaning beyond the apparent. However, despite the unusual nature of the situation, he packed what he had bought into his small bag and left the store. Outside, the first thing he noticed was that neither the cows nor the horse were there. Confused, he turned his head back, and now the mysterious tent was gone too. Perplexed by the events that had just unfolded and the absence of his animals, he took the path back home. However, as he progressed, he realized the path looked different. There was even a fence surrounding his property, a fence he had purchased a few days ago, and he had mentioned he would put it up later. Upon entering the courtyard of his house, the first thing Paul spotted was a child playing in the yard. The child, upon seeing him, ran towards the house. This action prompted his wife to come out to see why the child had run. Upon seeing Paul, she let out a frightened scream, as if she had seen someone returning from beyond. This caused her to fall backward, and a young woman came out to help her up. Paul also rushed to assist her, and shortly after, when she had recovered, she told him that the young woman was their little daughter, and the child was the baby they had been expecting. Paul was shocked by the news. Nevertheless, his wife went on to tell him that it had been 7 years since he had left. That evening you disappeared, the cows and the horse returned. But there was no trace of you. I waited through the night and the morning, and you still didn't come back. I thought you had gone out with some friends for a drink and would return the next day. When you still hadn't returned, I asked my brothers for help to search for you in the mountains. We thought you might have fallen down a cliff or that the horse threw you, and you hit your head. We even considered that some wild animal might have devoured you. We searched for you for weeks, and in the end, we feared the worst because we found no trace of you. His wife said to him, visibly distressed as she narrated through tears the years of uncertainty she had endured. After hearing his wife's account, he proceeded to recount everything he had experienced, the people he saw in that store, the items they sold and how they were arranged, even the mysterious storekeeper. As he spoke, he remembered what he had in his little bag. Thinking it was practically the only memento left of what happened, he took out what he thought were earrings. They were now a pair of gold coins, and the small blanket he had grabbed was now a gold tablet. Until today, neither he nor anyone to whom he has told the story can explain what happened in that mysterious store. The fact that he entered, saw things that made no sense to him, and even spoke with that enigmatic shopkeeper, in addition to the fact that the things he picked up transformed from humble objects into items made of gold. All those questions were always present in Paul's life and his family's until the day he left this world. What is clear is that, for Paul, entering that store meant losing 5 minutes, but for his family and acquaintances, it was 7 long years. Thank you for listening to me and getting this far. Today I ask you, have you ever heard a similar story before? If so, let me know in the comments box, I read them all. Also, if you enjoyed this tale, I invite you to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the bell, so you don't miss any future videos. As stated in the channel description, every week I will be sharing with you horror stories, mysteries, paranormal phenomena, and situations that have no logical explanation. Just like today's story. I also invite you to write to the email shown on the screen. Perhaps you have a story that should be heard. Without further ado, see you in a few days with a new story.